Hello, I'm Zoe Hunt, and I'm the director at large at the EFA. And today I have Patar, a EFA member, and I believe flute teacher of the community. Yes. Okay, excellent. And yeah, today we're here just to interview Patar and see what his flute journey was like and learn more about Patar. So here we go. How long have you played for?
37 years.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Yeah, I'm getting good any day now. You wait.
Good, very good. So how can you say your flute journey started, and where did you go on your flute journey to still be playing flute after 37 years?
Well, I started when I was 10, in former Yugoslavia. I was born in Belgrade, and I wasn't very good. I didn't practice, and I remember I flunked the second grade. Like I was 12-year-old, and I didn't do very well.
Okay.
And there were two studios in that music school. We get complimentary music education where I am from. You just have to you pass a year test or whatever. And there was another flute class in the same school, and that teacher had all the national prize winners and international, and he had and he would usually pick the best students from the other class to which I belong. But that year he picked the only student who flunked, which was me. I so did not practice that I that I couldn't pass the second grade of flute, which is ridiculous. Come to think of it, I should have taken the cue then, but he picked me because he thought that there was something going on there, and I did improve under him a lot. He had a way to motivate me, but I still was supremely lazy. But anyway, I finished music high school when I was in Yugoslavia, and then I moved to Sweden. And in Sweden, I started practicing more because I really got the music bug around the age of 16. And I moved there when I was just 18, or just turned 18. And I worked with the principal flute player of a Norrköping Symphony. It's one of the largest full-time symphony orchestras in Sweden. I stayed there for a year and a half, and then I ended up moving to Brandon, Manitoba in Canada. And had the teacher there for 4 years of my undergrad. Robert Ford was his name. That's when I developed my interest in conducting and was kind of somewhat committed to flute playing. I mean, I was doing that degree, but my passion lay in conducting, orchestral conducting, increasingly so. And so I ended up with Susan Hepner at U of T. And the next year I transferred to conducting and studied orchestral conducting at U of T. So I really started practicing flute seriously in my 30s. And then I realized that I had a little bit of catching up to do, and it's an ongoing project.
Awesome. Well, that's quite the story. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you're playing in a few different orchestras right now. Is that right? Or
I mainly would sub with the Edmonton Symphony, and then if there's like another orchestra in town, then I may end up playing with them. But the only other semi-regular gig is the Alberta Baroque Orchestra, and I've played both in the orchestra and as a soloist. Even with Liz Cuck, whom you also have interviewed, we played the Vivaldi Concerto together and some other pieces as well for two flutes and orchestra.
Okay, were you guys in a quartet at all together?
That's true. We were in a quartet with the Liz and Shelley. Shelley was assistant principal for many years, retired 2 years ago. And then Little Liz. who is also sub with the ESO first call sub. She's amazing. So the four of us have been in the flute quartet for about 3 years.
Oh, that's cool. And who founded that?
We all did, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Someone had an idea to form a quartet because we thought we played together in professional instances so often that it would be nice to see if we could play on our own and explore some of the fairly rich flute quartet repertoire. And so
Cool.
it kind of started there, and we got together a few times, talked about repertoire, read through a bunch of stuff, and we all play multiple flutes on these programs. So it's turned to be a very rewarding experience, and I just love playing with my colleagues.
How many types of flutes do you have?
My own, I have two. So soprano flute and the piccolo flute. But at my household, there is also an alto flute, and occasionally there's a bass flute and a recorder as well as the haute-terre Baroque flute. So I have a friend who owns a bunch of flutes, and he's not playing very much these days, so they all end up in my household. So I play a fair bit of flutes.
Awesome. So in the quartet, you would incorporate all the different kinds of flutes in the concerts. Is that right?
Yeah, personally, I played 3 flutes in most of our concerts, regular flute, alto, and bass. And other members would play flute and the alto, or piccolo, flute and the alto. It would kind of go like that. So I was mid to low range, and others were middleish, and then little as Liz Faulkner would be playing piccolo because she's the queen of piccolo.
Nice. So how often do you guys play together? With that, oh, we froze again.
Okay, if you could please repeat the last question.
We froze, sorry. How often do you play together in the quartet?
Well, we were playing, performing maybe twice a year. So we would play for about 4 months out of the year, would rehearse, choosing the program, rehearsing, then revving things up to the concert or 2 or 3 that we would sometimes have. That was all pre-COVID. We had the concert scheduled to take place this last winter, but of course not much was going on, so we haven't played in about a year, a little bit over a year. Whenever do you have anything
planned at all?
No, we have not chosen the next program, but we're just hoping things normalize, and maybe in the fall we can get together again and continue on our journey.
Yeah, that will be nice. That would be nice. All right. So just a couple more questions here. What is the best thing you ever learned from a teacher? Any tips?
I had to take a few lessons, and he taught me for free with Patrick Gallois, who at the time was teaching at U of T when I was doing my master's in flute, and then after conducting. So he taught me great things about the sound. He was very particular and explore the world of flute sound very neatly and specifically, what I thought was clear enough. So he basically imparted the idea of one.
How often do you play together in the quartet?
Well, we were playing, performing maybe twice a year. So we would play for about 4 months out of the year, would rehearse, choosing the program, rehearsing, then revving things up to the concert or 2 or 3 that we would sometimes have. That was all pre-COVID. We had a concert scheduled to take place this last winter, but of course, not much was going on, so we haven't played in about a year, a little bit over a year. Whenever
Do you
this
have
thing
anything
started.
planned at all?
No, we have not chosen the next program, but we're just hoping things normalize, and maybe in the fall we can get together again and continue on our
Hopefully.
journey.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that will be nice. That will be
Uh-huh.
nice. All right. So just a couple more questions here. What is the best thing you ever learned from a teacher? Any tips?
I had the,
Any?
I had to take a few lessons, and he taught me for free with Patrick Gallois, who at the time was teaching at U of T when I was doing my master's in flute, and then after conducting. So he taught me great things about the sound. He was very particular and explored the world of flute sound very neatly and specifically, what I thought was clear enough. So he basically imparted the idea of one projecting the idea of the sound from internal to external, and thinking of the sound creation as that of a singer. So basically, every time I play and I'm not freaking out, or my mind isn't in the right place, I try to move my throat with the any pitch that I aim to produce. So rather thinking, I need this speed of,
Interesting. That's a really good tip.
air, and this.
Right, you're actually thinking of the physical note as a singer.
What I need to project in. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's
and
really
then it
good.
magically happens. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's a full, rich tone that comes out then.
Well, also something
hopefully,
I've learned.
Right? This is what.
Yes, exactly. Something that I've learned over the years is that sometimes we think something is going on, and maybe it isn't really, or it's too close to our head and goes through the bones of our face and the skull, and maybe we hear things that are really not projecting. So I would like to think that's the case, but it seems to be more in tune, and the sound doesn't crack as often, and its dynamic range is richer if I just kind of think what I want, rather than I'm about to do this and I should set up in a certain way.
Yeah, very interesting. That's good. Let's see if there's anything else. Oh yes, here's the very last question that we'll end on, Patar. So what is something that most people don't know about you that you're willing to disclose?
That will not get me in trouble.
Yes.
I recently have started investing, so that's something that I have been making most of my income over the
cool. That's kind of different. It's fun, right?
Pandemic. I do some and then I invest money and take care of our family finances, and so far so good. And
so this is stocks?
Yeah, this is stocks. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it's really boring what I do, so I will definitely not go into detail, but I found it a little bit therapeutic, doing something that's completely opposite of not opposite, but very divorced from the process of music making and practicing and improving on one's chosen instrument. And it actually gives me an outlet that rinses my brain from other daily activity. It's almost like whatever brain does when we're asleep, and reformulates the neural connections that we have established during the day. So I feel by doing stocks, it takes my mind off any possible
Decompresses.
stress.
It just kind of pulls everything out. Awesome.
Decompresses is a good. Yeah.
Who would have known? Who would have known this is what you're doing now? Awesome. Well, yeah, that's it for us for today. Thank you so much for sparing the time to be with us. And on behalf of EFA, we'd like to thank you, and also thank you to the Alberta Foundation of the Arts for helping us fund EFA.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time.